Hey everybody, BigAl here. Seems that a bunch of my friends have made confessions, so I might as well make one myself. Wait a minute.
I don't really like One Piece.
I don't care if Army 21 closed its account.
What's the worst that can happen? My confession is, I like Final Fantasy VII. Oh shit. Can we seriously cut that shit out? Okay, look. I know you're thinking, but hell, you said in your last rant that it was an overrated piece of shit. Okay, I didn't exactly say that. I wasn't making fun of the game. I was making fun of the friend. Okay, let me rephrase that. Let us start from the beginning. Yes, it's true. I like Final Fantasy VII. I think it's a great game for its time. I think some of the characters are badass. I think Tifa is awesome. I think Cloud is... Okay. It has Mr. T with a machine gun, okay? What more do you want, okay? I like the game. And please don't call me a hypocrite. Hear me out. I think the game in its own right is awesome. I'm just not that much of an RPG fan. That being said, I like the game. Two things that I hate about it are the fact that it's getting milked for all it's worth, and it seems like the only game that Square Enix actually cares about now. And the fan base. I can speak volumes on the fan base and how bad it is, but Lototama has done that for me. But, that being said, I'm going to talk about it anyway. Look. The game, for its time, was awesome. Okay? But that time has passed. And I cannot stand it when people label a game or anything as the greatest thing of all time. Okay? Because people have been calling games the greatest game of all time for years, okay? Back then, Super Mario Bros. 3 was called the greatest game of all time. Then came Final Fantasy VII, the greatest game of all time. Then came Grand Theft Auto, the greatest game of all time. Then came the Halo series, the greatest game of all time. Then came Super Smash Bros. Melee, the greatest game of all time. I think it's fucking pointless to label anything the greatest game of all time, because there will be another game to take its place as the greatest game of all time. Do you see where I'm getting at here? It's not the greatest game of all time, and neither are all the other games I mentioned. They're great games, but they're not the greatest games of all time. In fact, there's no such thing as anything being the greatest of anything. Now that rant's over. Now I'm going to talk about the fact that this seems to be the only franchise that Square Enix really cares about. I keep calling it Squaresoft because I refuse to acknowledge Square Enix because they ruin all of their current games. For example, Dirge of Cerberus sucked, and I can't stand the fact that they keep putting Fantasy VII. I just can't stand the fact that this is the only game they pay attention to. I mean, no other game in the history of game making has gotten more spin-offs and sequels than Final Fantasy VII. I mean, all you need to do is take a look at every other Square Enix game that they're coming out with. It's like, we're releasing another Dragon Warrior, and then another FF7. Then we'll release another Dragon Warrior, FF7. Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Warrior, FF7. And the list goes on and on. It's a vicious circle. If they're not making an original game, they're working on a Final Fantasy VII game. That's how bad this has gotten. And Lotus-sama and other people agree with me because, much like me, they are Final Fantasy VII fans, but they cannot stand where this franchise is going. And that being said, I'd like to talk about the fanboys and the fangirls and the fans in general. Look, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of Final Fantasy VII. There isn't. But there's a fine line between being passionate about it and being overly fucking obsessive with it. And more than half of the fan base is overly fucking obsessive with it. First off, the people who dress like the characters. There's nothing wrong with dressing like the characters. If you like dressing like them, that's fine. I don't know why everybody thinks it's wrong to cosplay. It's just like Halloween. I mean, people dress up for Halloween, but you don't call them freaks. You don't call them psychos. You don't call them overly obsessive. But, because it has to do with a Japanese game, all of a sudden it's wrong. That being said, there's a time and a place for everything. Dressing up like Roxas or dressing up like Cloud in the middle of the mall in the fucking daytime is not normal, okay? Now, in terms of costume ability, Cloud is probably one of the most difficult. I can excuse the hair, okay? Because, as you can see, his hair is very difficult to emulate. Sorry for strangling you, little buddy. However, that's no fucking excuse to screw up the rest of the costume. Putting on dark leather, putting on a shitty wig, and making a Buster Sword out of a Little Caesars pizza box and duct taping it does not make you Cloud. It makes you fucking retarded and a loser. If you're gonna cosplay, put some fucking effort into it. Jesus Christ. I hate it when people do lazy cosplays, because not only do they suck at it, but it makes the rest of the fan base look bad. All you have to do is take a look at all of Lotus-sama's rants on this to know what I'm talking about. Look at Naruto. This little mini rant on Naruto. The fan base, most of them, is retarded. I'm not taking that back because it's true. I guarantee you, if you go to any cosplay con or anime con, whatever they're called, or Otakon, where's Metal Gear? I guarantee more than half of the people there will be dressed up as Naruto characters, including Naruto himself. But that being said, I've seen most of these cosplays, they're actually pretty damn good. I cannot stand the show, but I will give props to the people who dress like the characters and put some effort into it. However, that being said, I want to take a note at the little headbands that they wear. It's not a fucking fashion accessory. It does not look cool. You don't look cute wearing them, so stop wearing them in the middle of the fucking mall or college. I cannot tell you how many people I see at my college wearing those damn headbands. Some even cock them to the side to make them look cool, as if they're gangsters or something. No, it's not cool. You look like a loser. Wristband? Yes. Necklace? Yes. Headband? Fuck no. The only guys who look cool wearing headbands are Solid Snake, Rambo, and Rai Hayabusa. And you're neither of those characters, so please stop fucking wearing them.